Hi, it's Karen Holton, and I'm back to talk some more about the Intergalactic Resettlement Program, and today's topic is going to be orientation. So, as I mentioned on my last video about the mating habits of extraterrestrials, let's just call it that, I'm not sure if YouTube is going to let me post that video for long, so I may have to change the thumbnail. It's not really inappropriate in any way, but the title, of course, is provocative. So anyway, getting on to today's program. Basically, the world is going to hell in a handbasket. I'm going to recommend some more YouTubers today so that you can do some research to find out what really is going on this planet. And I'm not trying to make you be afraid, but you should be aware, because if you're aware, then you can then plan how you want to go about coping with the situation. And I also want to say that all of the YouTubers that I recommend, I have been following them for years, and they are amazing human beings. They are people who make huge sacrifices to bring you the news, each one going down their individual rabbit hole in their own way. They generally present information from government sites, not their own made-up drawings and stuff. They're professional. They are wonderful human beings, as I just said. And what I mean by that is they never put anybody else down. They don't try to put anybody else down to try to elevate themselves or their work. So we've got a bit of a network or a web of YouTube channels that are people of good faith, people of good intention, people who have done their work, done their research, and they have spent an enormous amount of time and energy to bring that information to you for free. And so I'll be recommending different YouTubers to check in on, because it's pretty important to separate the wheat from the chaff. And there is so much chaff out there. You want to make sure that you're getting accurate information. And so I've written down a couple here that I want to mention today. One of them is Chris Matthew with Forbidden Knowledge News. Chris has done a great job of not only bringing you on a weekly, he brings you what's going on the planet, what's going on with the space weather, what's going on with the natural disasters, what's going on, anything that you need a heads up about, you will receive from watching Forbidden Knowledge News. But more than that, he interviews other people who have done enormous amounts of research, who are bringing their news to you as well. And it's quite an amazing array of different videos on his YouTube channel. So that's Chris Matthew, Forbidden Knowledge News. I also want to recommend WSO Steve Olson. What I really love about Steve Olson is he has really narrowed it down to what is dogma and what is not dogma. And he has a very dogma-free YouTube channel. And again, he looks at all kinds of things that are going on with the planet, out in space, space weather, all kinds of interesting information, and his perspective is really quite lovely. I also want to mention Suspicious Observer. I've only been following them for a shorter period of time, but I'm very, very much impressed with the information, all kinds of information, even stuff what's going on a political front, and what's going on geological, space, all kinds of information as well. And then I also want to mention Broadcast Team Alpha with Augie Nost and Nori Love. They put on a tremendous show, bringing you all kinds of interesting people. Again, each one's gone down their rabbit hole, done their research, and they've got very, very valuable information for you. So please do check out and subscribe to my YouTube friends and family, and help support the good work that they're doing. So now to move on from that, when you go and check out these different YouTubers that I'm recommending, you're going to learn what's going on this planet. Then you can decide, what do you want to do? Do you want to become a prepper? Do you want to get ready for when the lights go out and the power goes out so that you're not left freezing and you can provide food for your family? Do you want to make arrangements to be part of other tribal or clan groups for protection and support? And then I want you to think very seriously about possibly being involved in the Intergalactic Resettlement Program. So basically, I don't know when, but I have been called to get out and start getting these videos out to help prepare you, because there are huge, huge cataclysmic changes that are going to happen on this planet. And our intergalactic brothers and sisters love us very much, and they care about us, and many of them are going to come and take those of us who wish to be resettled on other planets. They are willing to take us there. And so I know this sounds completely crazy talk. I know that. I know how absurd I sound. But I would be remiss if I didn't bring you these messages so that I can say, yeah, at least I got my message out there and I tried. And so a lot of people are really freaked out about extraterrestrials and space aliens and outer space, and they're just freaked right out. There's been a huge propaganda, fear porn program to make us afraid, because they bring with them awareness, knowledge, information, and everything they represent totally upsets the apple cart here on Earth. So anyway, enough jibber jabber. I'm going to get on to orientation because it's really interesting, and I'm hoping to alleviate your fear by telling you this. And also I want to say I'm not affiliated with any other group. I'm not part of the secret space program or anything else. There is an intergalactic federation of beings and planets who have been negotiating with our leaders here on planet Earth for some time. But the group that I'm more participating with is a bit of a group that started off rogue. They've become fairly well organized at this point because they could see that we're suffering here on Earth, our health, our mental health, we're being lied to, everything has been stacked up against us, and they don't want to wait. They want to be here for us. And so there's no place to sign up. There's nothing that you can do to get on a list. The only way that you can be involved in the resettlement program is to become a finer human being so that you are worthy of being part of the program. Now, when I say worthy, I am not saying that there's something wrong with you, not at all. What I mean by worthy is that you've taken the steps to clean up your life, to clean up your field, to clean up your temple body so that you can hold the frequency and have something very valuable to contribute. You see, these new worlds that are going to be populated, and these, just so many different projects that you could be involved in, they are absolutely resource-based. So the money has nothing to do with anything. It can be done for a hobby or for fun, but really it doesn't have anything to do with anything. So because the systems are resource-based, you don't need money, you don't need to buy into it, nothing like that. Everything will be provided. And in the coming videos, I'll be sharing more and more information with you so that you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. So the first thing you would do is you would clean up, detoxify, and heal your body as much as humanly possible. You would be meditating, and you would just be putting it out there that this is something that you would like to know more about. Then in time, you will be contacted individually. It's completely unorganized. It's just done according to energy, according to frequency. And quite frankly, it is great that the program operates this way, because can you imagine if we took all our drama, all our sickness, all of our addictions, and took them up to the big orientation ships with us? What a mess. What a mess it would be. Not to mention the fact that why populate other planets with the same infection? when we can deal with it here and now to the best of our ability and then receive further healing once we're on the ship. So what would happen is you would contact them, or you would let them know. You could participate in Dr. Stephen Greer's CE5 movement if you want, or you can just do it through decalcifying your pineal gland and reaching out. And you will find these beings are full of love and full of mercy and so beautiful to deal with. And the other thing that might surprise you is they're not that different than us. This particular project has been organized so that the training, the resettlement, all of that is done by beings very close to us. In fact, we're in the same species. So they are our brothers, sisters, cousins, but a little bit distant and removed. And they are absolutely lovely. So the first thing that happened with me is when I went up for orientation, I don't actually remember how I got there. In fact, most of us that are involved in these programs don't remember any of it, and that's a safety feature for us. But also, it can be very overwhelming just to lead our lives here on Earth, be good people, detoxify our bodies, do our self-care, be peaceable with other people. That's enough. So if we run around talking about all our adventures, we're going to very soon become quite alienated and stigmatized and possibly lose, what little community we still hang on to. So anyway, once I was on the ship, at first I was just in a big room with a bunch of other people. But I could tell there was subtle differences that said, "Who, Karen, you're not in Kansas anymore." We didn't have to wait very long, and then we went into orientation. And orientation has different levels. So the first thing that happens is you're assigned a buddy, somebody who looks very much like you and is culturally compatible with you. There's no secrets because all of these beings run primarily on telepathy and through the pineal gland with pictures and images, and they're able to give us implants, some of them, so that we have spontaneous knowledge and awareness. And so we're assigned a buddy, and our buddy will stay with us 24/7 until we feel comfortable enough to spend some time on the ship by ourselves. What I mean by ourselves, we're never really alone, but we are allowed some privacy and some contemplation and some quiet time to ourselves, of course. So first we're assigned a buddy, and your buddy will answer all your questions, will tell you what's going to happen, how it's going to go down, how long it's going to take, all of that kind of stuff. And you may even find in the beginning that they take you via bilocation, which means you're still here and you're also there. It's just amazing. A lot of this is going to boggle your mind. It may be the first time you've heard about any of this information. So be patient with yourself as this unrolls and as I tell you more about it. So the second thing that happens is you get a full body scan, and it's similar to going through security at an airport here on Earth. And the scan will take a complete image of everything inside of us. So it's not just physical, it's not just exterior and interior, it's also frequency and all kinds of things. And then from there, you will have an interview and you will talk to people, and it won't take long before you're actually able to start using the, I'm not sure which I should tell you first. Okay, you will be using some healing chambers. When we go into the healing chambers, it does a number of things. It not just heals our body, but it also heals us on etheric and other levels as well, and prepares us. If you're going through your orientation before you're actually being resettled, it would also prepare you for the planet that you are destined to go to. And every planet has its own little bit different gravity, little bit different atmosphere, a little bit different, all kinds of things. Close enough, but a little bit different. So we go into these healing chambers not only to heal ourselves, but also to prepare our bodies for what's to come. So Getting back a little bit, I want to tell you that I only once remember being on a smaller ship coming up to the orientation ships. Now, orientation ships are just orientation ships. They don't really do anything else but orient people and give them a first contact point. They're very large, very large. They could be referred to as mother ships, and they are 5, 10, maybe even more miles across. They're generally spherical. However, this particular one would look like it was a little bit mashed down from the top and bottom. And it had kind of arms that came out galaxy style. You could also think of it as being like an octopus legs. They could move them and adjust them as necessary, but instead of suction cups, there would be little docking ports. And the main body of the ship is very, very large. And it's so large that even though they're all the walkways and everything are sort of go around, similar to a labyrinth within the ship, you're not really aware that you're kind of walking in curved hallways or anything like that because they're so big. And then, of course, because your healing comes from the healing chambers, nobody spends a lot of time working out, unless that's your thing. If that's your thing, you can do that. And there are all kinds of automated systems for moving you around without having to do endless miles of walking to get anywhere. And there's not a lot of like golf carts and things like that because they're just not necessary. And anyway, so what it looked like to me, first of all, the ship appeared to be black. The main ship appeared to be black, but we had some, I guess, running lights on the smaller ship we were in, and when it hit the ship, it would light up glossy, kind of glossy patches. But pretty much, I think that the ship would only be seen if it was close enough to, get some direct light from a star or something like that. It didn't produce external light of itself, at least when I saw it. Now, my orientation buddy was telling me that there are worlds, not planet worlds, but there are worlds that are made up of integrating these motherships together, generally kind of like tentacle to tentacle in a bit of a matrix, and sometimes they're so large that they will form a sphere on the outside of a small star, and those are almost like stationary cities, and they could last for thousands of years or even longer, and they're pretty cool, and I'll tell you more about them in future videos. So anyway, for orientation, you spend time in classrooms learning, and everyone's given a tablet, and it's a little bit different than the tablets we have here on Earth. They're just kind of clear, they just look like clear, thin pieces of rectangles of like clear resin, really. And then whatever we need to know, we can access. We don't have separate computers with memory banks or anything like that. Everything goes into like a cloud system on the ship, and everything's accessible to everybody. So then you're assigned a room. You can have a roommate if you're a small family or even a big family and you want to be in one of the cluster housing, you can do that. Or if you just want to have a small solitary room, you can have that too. And of course your buddy goes with you and spends time with you, sleeps everything around you so that you feel secure and you feel safe. These are absolutely benevolent human beings. Whoops, they're not human, sorry about that, but they are beings and they are very close to us. And to learn more about, some of the cool things about them, watch my other videos about the resettlement program. So I haven't found this out by research. I found this out strictly through my own personal experiences and also through Bob. And Bob is one of my contacts. I've never met Bob. I've never seen Bob in person. I know it's hilarious, but that's the name he chose because he said I would never in a million years even be able to think how to say his name. So anyway, when you're on, I guess the most difficult part of the orientation process is to learn to stop talking, because everybody knows what everybody else is thinking, and it's pretty obvious, and words kind of get in the way. Words hold us back. Words are an earthly symbol system that's meant to contain us into a specific way of thinking and believing. Words are not necessary there. In fact, they get in the way. Not to mention the fact that it just takes away from the beautiful quiet and peacefulness of the environment. And some species are offended by all the teeth and the saliva and the movement of the mouth, because they come from cultures where they're very tidy around the mouth. And we appear to be kind of aggressive and predatory and loud, and when we're speaking, we're also emoting, and we're also transmitting telepathically, whether we know it or not. And it's like screaming. And so that's sort of one of the things that we do. And another thing is that while on these orientation ships and ships that are taking you off into the galaxy and into other worlds, you are actually vegan while you're on the ship. Now, when you're oriented and you're ready to settle on the new planet, omnivore, even carnivore is an option. But the funny thing about it is, if you're a carnivore or an omnivore, you raise your own food as a pet. You love it, you take care of it, you develop a relationship with it, so that when it comes time for you to, in a humane way, end the life of your pet and consume it, you are absolutely aware of what you're doing. Now, I've spoken in other videos about how there is no one ascension diet. People have all kinds of different genetics, and they have all kinds of different things they need, and what their ancestry ate, what their blood type is. And I think it's really a shame that the vegans, not all of them, most of them are lovely, but on Earth, quite a few vegans really guilt trip and make the meat eaters feel really bad. And I think that's wrong, because truly, plants are alive. They know when they're going to be killed. They know when they're going to be eaten. And they do exhibit stress, just like the animals do. And so until we can become breatharians, which may or may not be real and may or may not even be an option for us, we are killing innocent, beautiful life, and we're consuming it so that we can live. Now, in the past, I know I'm a little bit off topic, but in the past, when I had gone to the plant world, because I was a raw vegan for a while, I was really aware of the life force was so strong in the fruits and vegetables I was eating at the time. And I went to the plant kingdom and I said, I'm really sorry, I love you, and I do not want to kill you to eat you. And the message I got was really interesting. They said that they had 3 primary purposes. 1 is to reproduce, 2 is to add to the beauty and harmony of the planet, and 3 is to provide food for all the gentle beings of this world. So a similar thing happened when I went back to eating meat again. I felt terrible about it. And by the way, I'm really careful to eat meat that's been grass-fed, humanely raised, humanely killed, properly treated with love and respect through the whole process, because I can't psychologically bear to eat something that's been imprisoned and tortured. I just can't do it. Anyway, I know, get on with it. So anyway, but while we're on the ship, we are vegan. And it's beautiful because the gardens are in every department. And so depending on where you're stationed, living, working, and yeah, there is work. Like they have the technology to basically make it so we don't have to do anything. But some species, especially humans, it's really good for us to work. And so we get little projects and things that interest us. So getting back to the orientation, yeah, you will be vegan, but you will be given some wonderful sources of protein and some delicious foods, and you'll really, really like it. Your body will adjust, and you've got the healing chambers to take care of any issues. Soon after that, you go to some meetings and some lectures, and you learn more about the whole program. It's huge. I'm not going to get into it today. And then the other thing is you do have quiet time, and I got to tell you a couple things that I really like to do. One thing is we're encouraged to do research because we want to basically get some training, and we want to be involved in this amazing, huge project. And so we get to do research on what kinds of training are available on the ship, what we might be interested in, at what level would we be able to understand the programming. And because it's done in a nonverbal way, you get to learn through kind of like watching videos, except it's in your head. It's very, very cool. So you get to spend time doing research on that. And then the other thing that I really enjoyed, remember I talked about the scan thing when you first get there? Well, there is no uniform. Yeah, a lot of beings will just wear very simple like jumpsuits and different things like that just because it's comfortable and it's easy. And you know, me personally, I would be in my pajamas all the time. There's no judgment over all these kind of little nitpicky things. It's a very open way of being. So anyway, what I really like to do is to go through the data banks and take a look at all the different fashions and styles and what I like. And then you just basically drag and drop and create what you want to wear. And then it gets 3D printed. Every day, it's funny, at the end of the day, everything just goes into the recycling chute and gets recycled. So all the food is grown live with, it's treated with frequency, which could be music, color, lighting, all kinds of things to make sure it has maximum nutritional potential for us. And different beings have a little bit different nutritional requirements. So there's all of that. Then you get to pick whatever you want to wear. But everything that you want, you can just have. You can just have anything you want. So if you want a new tablet, or you want a pair of shoes, or you want to design cool outfits, which is what I spend a lot of time doing. Reminds me of when I was a kid doing cutouts, you know, designing my own cutout dolls. And so everything gets recycled and everything gets 3D printed. So I want to tell you some information that I don't hear anybody else talking about. In fact, a lot of the ET YouTubers talk a lot about nuts and bolts things, and people want to see actual sightings and proof and all of this jazz. I come from a completely different orientation. So my orientation is very sociological, very cultural, very psychology oriented, because that's my leaning and that's my forte. So you're going to get quite a different story from me. So anyway, I want to tell you, so one of the things that went through my mind is, where the hell do we go to the bathroom? You know, I'm a little bit nervous about that. So thank God you got your buddy. But anyway, the bathrooms are really cool. They're small. There's a little kind of a platform. And everything on the ship is intuitive. So like, for instance, the doors, yeah, they're like Star Trek, but they're not like if you get too close to them, they're going to open on you. The ship picks up your intention. So if you want to go through a door, you go up to a door, and your intention is to go through the door will open. So the same thing goes with the bathroom. So, and you never have to touch anything, so you don't have to worry about germs and stuff. And I'll talk a bit about germs too here. So anyway, all you do is, because it's good for all of us that have a similar biological body design, it's actually good for us to do a bit of squatting. So you kind of go, there's in the beginning, there's instructions on how to do everything, and they're all pictorial, right? So, or your buddy will fill you in. But anyway, so what you do is you basically drop your pants or whatever you're wearing, lift up your skirt, whatever, and you just start to go into a bit of a squat, but not that hard. It's not like you have to be a martial artist to be able to hold the position. And what happens is what I'm going to call the toilet kind of comes up to meet your rear end, and it's really cool. It's kind of like accordion shaped all the way around, and it expands up, and you do your business, and it kind of meets you halfway and catches you, and you do your business. And when you're done, you don't have to do anything. They have some kind of a weird kind of a mist, a very fine mist, and it's got enzymes. From what I understand, enzymes, very tiny biological creatures. I don't know, it's all really small. You'd have to have a microscope to look at it, which I didn't bother with. But anyway, just basically does a little poof spray on your whatever, your butt or your genitalia or whatever, and then there's also a little bit of a suction, so it just kind of, it's kind of like getting a little burst of fine powder or mist, and then it's just gently sucked away very, very quickly, and then this accordion thing comes back down, and you stand up and you put your pants back on, and it's all good. You're good to go. So that sort of leads into the whole germ issue, because on Earth we're all freaked out about germs and going to the bathroom. And on the ships you don't see hand sanitizers or any of that. The housekeeping is very, very, very simple. They have a constant kind of this dust. It's somehow completely inert, so it doesn't hurt our health in any way. And it's always kind of coming out in little bursts. You don't really even notice it. You might be breathing some of it, or it just kind of goes everywhere. And there's a gentle suctioning or vacuuming all the time, but it's noiseless, so you're not really aware of it. And this is going on all the time. And so our bodies are being cleaned, our outfits are being cleaned, the floors are being cleaned, everything is just being cleaned all the time with this housekeeping system. And I, for one, was really glad to find out I didn't have to do any housework. And anything that you're done with goes into the recycler. And then you just, in the morning when you wake up there, it's waiting for you. It just comes out of this neat little, kind of like a drawer that comes out and it's just there waiting for you. It's ever so cool. They have some very advanced AI that helps with a lot of this. And I also, what else was I going to tell you? There's so much to tell you. It's just amazing. Anyway, you're really going to love it. Once you get over your initial knee-jerk reaction and fear, you're going to love it. You're just going to love it. I mean, it's quite something. It's out of this world, quite literally. So anyway, so that's the housekeeping. Oh yeah, so that's the other thing. Everything goes into recycling. So all the waste material from the potties to anything, it all goes into a recycling system. And what's really cool about it is this is not a chemical system. This is also a biological system. So they have like different kinds of aquatic little creatures and bugs and all kinds of things that are very happy and prolific in those environments that do all the breaking down. And then once everything is broken down, they have something similar to a 3D printer that just makes everything that we want. And so for those of you that are looking for a Star Trek experience, probably not going to find it. You'll see some small similarities, but not really a whole lot. There's no replicators. Thank God. I would not want to eat replicated food. You see, real food has life force in it, and everybody in the whole universe recognizes life force. And so that's about it. I didn't see any conflict, no stress. As I mentioned on my other video, it's a very sex-positive environment. But that being said, it's never the way we think of sexual behavior on Earth. It is completely just as natural as excreting, just as natural as eating, just as natural as sleeping, and you do not ever have to do anything you're not 100% comfortable with. But over time you will kind of relax into the culture and you may find yourself participating a bit. And also, I didn't mean to make it sound like everyone's just having sex all over the place. That's not it either. Watch the other video. You'll get a better understanding of that. So anyway, like I said, my purpose for making these videos is to let you know my experiences, things Bob has shown me, yeah, I'll tell you about Bob. He's hilarious. Like, we think of these creatures as being something weird and different and all of that, but they're not. They're so much like us. Bob's got a thing about Frank Sinatra and Michael Jackson, and it's really cute. So they often will pick up little snippets of our culture and just go crazy with it. It kind of becomes a genre within their culture. So you're going to find that you're probably going to really love the experience. And again, it's up to you. What are you going to do to prepare yourself so that you're worthy of an experience like this? And through my contact with my guides and with ETs and everything else, I've been given a download for a program. It's called Quantum Health Transformation. It's on my YouTube channel. It's also on my website. It's absolutely free with no strings attached. I won't even know that you're accessing and using the information. All I ask is that you give me credit for the information. I would appreciate that. And the other thing is to help me to continue to make these videos and to provide this really valuable information. Please also check out my wonderful orgone generators on my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com, KarenHolton, healthcoach.com. All the links will be below this video. If you have any questions, you can email me through my website. You can contact me through Facebook, Messenger. I'm quite approachable. And I guess that's about it for today. That's enough. So everybody, please do meditate. Please do switch over to real food. Please consider grounding. Please consider getting out in the fresh air. Please consider dealing with drama. I've got another video called Get Off the Victim Triangle. It's a wonderful video on how to deal with drama. Also in the Quantum Health Transformation, everything is covered in there. Every aspect of human life that we can improve to make ourselves better people. Because I know a lot of you would be ever so lovely to come with. Ever so lovely. Love to have you along. You will love being on the ships. You will love the culture. And you'll really, really love the new planet that you go to. And you have a lot of choice as to where you want to live, what culture you want to be involved in. And guess what? The other thing too is when it comes right down to the end of the end of the end. If you're someone who is known to the resettlement project and you've got people you really love here, you can take them with you. No one's going to be loaded, kicking and screaming, no, I don't want to go. No one's going to, we wouldn't do that to anybody. But for all of those who want to go, there's a place for you. And it's lovely. And yeah, so that's it for today. And we'll talk more about being on the big ships and some of the other things that we do there. And then I'll also talk a little bit more about the actual planets. Oh, that's the other thing I want to mention. If you go to the Universal Consciousness Show, also on YouTube, Facebook, all over the place. There's even a website, universal-consciousness-show.com. And check out my interview with Augie Nost and Diana Seraphim, where I talk about my adventures actually going down onto the planet, some of the things that happened to me there. So, hoping you have a great day. I hope you have a great life. Don't get too down about what's going on in this world. It's temporary and it's passing away. And that's about all I have to say for today. I love you all so much. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to hang out on the ship. Yes! It's going to be great.